Yo, what's going on? What is going on? Hope everybody's having a good Saturday. I decided to come out here to the park to get some work done. But I want to speak with you all about something real quick. So just going to wait a little bit, let some people come in. Let me know where y'all at. First of all, type 5 in the chat. Let me know if y'all can see me, if y'all can hear me. I want to make sure that I'm not talking to myself right now. So type 5 in the chat for me. Let me know if you can see me and hear me. And then we get this thing started. All right. So, for those who don't know, my name is. What's going on, Ann? Ty, what's going on, bro? Yo, Ty. I apologize, brother. So we no longer have the kidney support. We're looking into bringing it back in, but right now we're still out. We don't have it, but we may bring it back on board. All right. So I apologize about that, brother. All right. So cool. Everybody can hear me. Good. 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 First of all, I hope everybody's doing well. My name is Edward Williams, founder and creator of Health by Any Means Necessary. Linda, you in Tampa? That's what's up, man. I love Tampa. I spent a hot 3 to 4 years in Tampa, and it was a great 3 to 4 years. So check this out. Right now, I'm working on my next book. This will be my fifth book. Okay, and for those who know me, you know I really I dislike writing a book. I dislike writing in general, whether it be blogs, emails. I dislike writing in general. But I know that it's something I have to do, right? So I already have the book laid out in my mind. I already have the topic. I know what the book's going to be about. So right now, what I'm doing is I'm going through, and they call this the hurricane of ideas, where I'm just throwing stuff out there. I'm just throwing stuff out there, and the purpose of throwing things out there is to get all of those ideas that you think of when you think of the book, and then you're going to fine tune it. You're going to chisel it down to several key points or several key topics, several key results that you want the book to achieve. And so, of course, as I'm going through the book, there's things that I'm writing about and talking about that I also wanted to speak with you all about. And one of the things that I was currently going through while I'm out here right now is the idea of a miracle and results without work. And so, it's very interesting when you look at the definition of a miracle. Granted, I'm not going to get it verbatim, but the overall definition of a miracle is something or an event that happens that goes against natural law and or science and can only be explained by divine intervention. That's pretty much like the gist of what a miracle is. So, in other words, a miracle is really something that naturally should not take place. In order for it to take place, something from the outside, like outside of this world, has to intervene in order for it to take place. And I thought about that, and I just think about our society in general, our culture in general. And I also think about my interaction with my patients, my family, friends, and also myself. And I came to the conclusion, along with some other help from other readings, that we are a society of miracle seekers. Some of you who are, religious, you get the connotation that goes along with that. But we are a culture of miracle seekers. So, I mean, if you look at the movies, the things that, take place in the movies, where things that happen can only be explained by a miracle. But it has actually become so pervasive that it's spread into the culture, and now we as people, individuals, walk around acting like miracles are things that happen all the time. Now, granted, I am not anti-miracle. I can sit here and list multiple things that has happened in my life where I have to chalk it up to a miracle. Like I'm like, yo, I don't know how I made it out that one. I'm not sure how I'm still alive. I don't know how these things happen, and I'm still right here. And I can't explain it. So I'm not anti-miracle, but at the same time, I don't walk around life as if I just expect miracles to take place. I understand that if I want a certain result and I'm right here as far as where I want to be, I'm this far away from it. I understand that I need to put in work in order to get to that result. So I'm not expecting miracles to take place. What I'm getting at is when you think about things like weight loss, we've been trained as a society that you can take certain pills that will make you lose weight. Let's go again. Let's go over the definition of miracle again. Miracle is something that an event that takes place that goes against natural law and or science and can only be explained by outside intervention. And so we don't just gain weight by doing nothing. Like there's actual work that goes into gaining weight. Food consumption, lack of movement, drinking. To think that you can still do those things that cause the weight gain while taking a pill in hopes to lose the weight while continuing the same behaviors means that you are looking for a miracle. Type 2 diabetes. The equation to become a type 2 diabetic is very straightforward. Processed foods. So let me go ahead and explain this to you all again. You need processed foods in order to become a type 2 diabetic. You need processed drinks in order to become a type 2 diabetic. It is almost impossible to achieve the status, the A1C of a type 2 diabetic without the use of processed foods. Why? Because nature doesn't work that way. You can go and find the sweetest fruit in this world. You can go to a sugarcane field and chew on sugarcane all day long. Before you become diabetic, your jaw will fall out. Why? Because that sugarcane has so much fiber. Not along with that, also, not only that, but the actual nutrients in it. But you just won't be able to go through and chew that much. You will have to actually strip that sugarcane of the skin. You will have to chop it up. You will have to crush it. You will have to shred it. Then you would have to juice it. And then you would continue that process to purify it. And then you would have to start drinking that sugarcane, the juice, the syrup from it, processed over and over and over. And then you can become diabetic. You see how that's not a natural process. The same thing with food. Something like an apple, like you would have to do that same process with apple. So eating an apple naturally does not cause you to become type 2 diabetic. Why? Because you won't be able to consume that many apples that fast in order to become a type 2 diabetic. It just won't happen. So long as we understand that you need processed foods in order to become type 2 diabetic. Okay, so let's get back to the equation of how to become a type 2 diabetic. You need processed foods and or processed drinks. Plus frequency. So this means that it's not enough to just eat processed foods once a day to become a diabetic. You need to be eating this frequently. So multiple times a day. Just like the advice they used to give, 6 small meals a day every 2 to 3 hours. That advice was damaging and toxic to the whole entire country. So processed foods plus frequency, and then the line over time equals insulin resistance, which over time equals type 2 diabetes. So it's a very straightforward, methodical way to become diabetic. You may not know it, you may not be aware of it. That's what I call the insulin resistance equation. It's very straightforward. Processed foods, eaten frequently, over time will grant you type 2 diabetes. So there was a process that went into you becoming type 2 diabetic, right? The idea that you can do that process, become type 2 diabetic, and now ingest medications to do what? So this puts us at another pit stop, because what do we believe these medications are supposed to do for us? What have we been told? Because how many people would really say that their doctors or their practitioners or whoever wrote them the prescription for the medication and told them that this would reverse your type 2 diabetes? No one's ever, I doubt anyone's being told that, right? How many people can say that their practitioners wrote the prescription and said that this medication will make you healthier? If they told you that, that's a bold-faced lie, because they are basing that off of nothing, like other than just them trying to get the bag. So medications will not make the actual condition go backwards, reverse it, and medications will not improve your health. Medications will simply make the condition look better. What I mean by that is whether you take metformin, whether you take sulfonylurea, glimepiride, glipizide, whether you take one of these injectables or even insulin, any medication you take, none of these medications are designed to actually reverse the condition. Why? Because the lack of the medication is not why you got the condition. That equation is why you got the condition. The lack of the medications itself does not deal with the actual problem. The problem is the food, the frequency. We could also put, movement, but let's stick to the basics. The problem is the food and the frequency over time. Medications does not deal with that. What the medications does is the medications, they do tricks, right? So the medications will punch in your pancreas to make it secrete insulin, which will make your glucose go down lower. It will force the glucose into your cells where your cells don't want it. That's what sulfonylureas do. Glimepiride, glipizide, glyburide, that's what those medications do. You got medications out there that you can just inject the insulin, and it will once again force glucose into where the body does not want it to be. So these medications, when you take them and you go to measure your finger stick, you'll see that the blood sugar levels are lower. Once again, you should ask the question, if it was just 246, my blood sugar, I took the medications and now it's 180, where did that sugar go? Because it didn't disappear. So medications will not make you healthier. That's not what they're designed to do. They're designed to be gimmicks. They're designed to make you feel good. They're designed to make things look better while the storm is still going on. I hope you all understand this. On top of that, you all should ask your practitioners, if I take this medication, will this actually decrease my mortality and my morbidity? Mortality and morbidity means hospitalization, sickness, the complications that come along with these conditions, such as gangrene, amputations, erectile dysfunction, blindness, kidney disease, heart attacks, strokes. These are the mortality and death. These are the mortalities and morbidities. You should actually ask your doctor these medications, and I'm talking about type 2 diabetes, cholesterol, high blood pressure, all of these medications. You should actually ask your practitioners, by taking these medications, can you guarantee that these things will actually decrease my mortality, my morbidity? No matter what they say, I will tell you the answer is no. I've done a presentation before this with y'all before. If you go to the nnt.com, you don't have to believe me. That is completely fine. I'm not looking for anybody to just blindly believe anything I'm saying. My job here is to present the facts and also to let you know what's really going on over here. You have to do what you want to do from there. But if you go to the nnt.com, you can see just how effective these medications are. So with these medications, whether we're talking about antihypertensive medications, whether we're talking about cholesterol medications, whether we're talking about diabetic medications, you should see the nnt.com, which is the number needed to treat, how many people are required to be treated with the medication before we see someone who has a benefit, versus how many people have to be treated with the medication before we see side effects. Those numbers are nowhere close to what you may be thinking. Those numbers are nowhere close to the impression that you have been given. You would think that with the way they push these medications out, the way they put it on TV, the commercials, the newspaper, the magazines, the way they write the prescriptions, you would think that these medications are actually very beneficial. That's what you would think. The stats, the numbers, the data does not say that at all. At all. So, once again, if you were to ask these practitioners, and they had to be honest, and they were forced to be honest, if I take this medication for my diabetes, will it actually make me healthier? Will it prevent me from having a stroke or heart attack? They cannot say yes. They can say other things, but they won't be able to say yes. So, that's a fact that I'm not really here to debate about. I mean, once again, nnt.com. You can have a field day over there. So, with that being said, back to the equation of type 2 diabetes. Food, processed food, plus frequency over time gets you type 2 diabetes. You get a medication, you take the medication. What are you expecting to happen with this relationship? The relationship of unhealthy eating plus medications. What are we expecting to happen from this relationship? If you are expecting your condition to improve, or if you're expecting your health, let me reverse, take that back. If you are expecting your health to improve just because you're taking the medications, but eating the same way, you are looking for a miracle. Why? Because the way you got the condition is very straightforward. You got the condition because of the food and the frequency over time. The medications that you are taking has nothing to do with that equation. The medication that you are taking has nothing to do with making any of these variables in that equation go away. If you continue to do the variables in that equation, you can take as much medications as you want. They will do a great job of hiding that blood sugar. They will do a great job of essentially oppressing your cells, because the cells have downregulated their insulin receptors on purpose. These medications are coming here in your body like the SWAT team, kicking in the doors saying, open up, take this glucose. The cells are like, yo, we don't want any more glucose. We're full. We're at max capacity. Send it to the liver. The liver's like, yo, we over here, we full. We don't even have any more space for the glycogen. We now have to turn glycogen into fat and then ship it out to the fat cells. But we're at max capacity, like we have to slow things down. And so that's when you start to see the blood sugar increasing in the bloodstream. And even though this is going on, you are still going to force them to do what they don't want to do by taking the medications. That's what the medications are doing. If you're thinking that the medications are going in the body on some kumbaya, peace be to all, let's talk this out. No, they are going in that body, kicking in the doors, shooting everything that moves. They're being extremely aggressive. If you think about how it looks when a village gets colonized by outside invaders, and the people in the town only know about bows and arrows, and they know about AR-15s, I'm sorry to make it so. No, I'm not sorry. If you're thinking that that's not going on, and that this is a mutual beneficial exchange that's taking place, you are wrong. And what's going on looks more like what I just described to you. It's a kick in the door, shoot everything that moves, do as I say, or get the bullet. That's what's going on, because the cells have made it clear that we no longer want the blood sugar. That's why it's in the bloodstream. The liver has made it clear that we are at max capacity. We're trying to turn this glycogen into fat as fast as possible. But with you eating so many times, and the foods that you're eating are of the lowest quality, they're processed. I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best, boss, to get this fat out into the fat cells and increase your fat size and increase your weight. But with the weight, at the rate that you're eating, I'm not able to do it. And so the liver itself will eventually start to die off. The hepatocytes, the cells of the liver eventually will start to die off itself. And so that whole condition continues. So since that is going on, and you are taking medications, once again, what are you expecting from this relationship? Because if you are expecting your health to improve, then you are expecting a miracle. Why? Because you are expecting something that is outside of natural law, outside of science, to intervene and stop that event. Once again, I'm not anti-miracle. Miracles happen. Multiple things have happened in my life that is a miracle. But this world, this society, this culture has convinced you that miracles can happen all the time. They have convinced you that miracles take place all the time when it comes to your health. The numbers disagree with you harshly. The numbers disagree with the black community in an extreme harsh way. And why they are convincing you that miracles can happen and that you are special and we love you, they are placing these dialysis clinics right in your community. The dialysis clinics right in your community, right next to the Chinese shop, right next to the pawn shop, right next to the liquor store. Popeye's Chicken, dialysis shop, Chinese store, pawn shop, gun store. Miracles can happen. We love you. Black Lives Matter. We got y'all. And so it's this facade, feel-good story of we love you, miracles can happen, you're special, we got your back. But when you pull behind the curtains, it's a massacre. It's a massacre of us. We have to understand many of these things are very straightforward as far as how we get to them. And since they're very straightforward as to how we get to that point, when I'm talking about conditions, since it's straightforward as far as how we get to certain conditions, it is also, for the most part, straightforward as to how we get ourselves out of the condition. You name it. I can sit here and break down all the conditions dealing with insulin resistance. That's my lane, insulin resistance. Whether we're talking about cholesterol. Once again, the finesse, the marketing, the hustle, they have convinced you. Let me just ask y'all a question. How many types of cholesterol are there? Those who've been rocking with me for a while, if you already know the answer, don't answer the question. How many types of cholesterols are there? So insulin resistance is what we deal with over here. Cholesterol, obesity, type 2 diabetes, prediabetes, PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, high blood pressure. That's what we deal with over here. To get to those conditions, for the most part, you have to be insulin resistant first. Insulin resistance is the foundation. It is the platform. It is the framework for those conditions that I just listed. High blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, prediabetes, PCOS, obesity, high blood pressure. It is the foundation. So if without the foundation, many of these things don't even exist. I just gave you the straight up, hardcore, basic equation for achieving insulin resistance. Processed foods plus frequency over time equals insulin resistance. Now, there are other variables that can definitely go in there. Things such as movement, things such as vitamin D deficiency, processed drinks. So there are other variables. But even if you were someone who was only drinking water, even if you were someone who was only who was taking vitamin D and had a great vitamin D level, and you were someone who was moving, if you do those two variables, eating frequently over time, long enough, you'll become insulin resistant. And so these are the two variables that you just can't get away from, the time, the frequent eating, and the processed foods. So Jones said 2 or more. So when it comes to cholesterol, we've been convinced that there's this thing called good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. When in actuality, there's only one cholesterol, and that is cholesterol. The LDL and the HDL are not even cholesterols. These are lipoproteins. So HDL stands for high density lipoprotein. LDL stands for low density lipoprotein. Then you have VDL, and you have like even smaller VDL, you have type A, type D, but with all those different variations, there's only one type of cholesterol. These other things are carrier proteins. LDL is responsible for carrying it out. HDL is usually responsible for carrying it back. They told you good cholesterol, bad cholesterol. See, the devil is in the details. And I mean that. The devil's in the details. A little bit of truth to attract them. Make the rest lies to entrap them. A little bit of truth to attract them. Make the rest lies to entrap them. So, yeah, LDL's taking it out there. HDL's bringing it back. But we should start with the basics. That's why I'm a huge fan of understanding just basic anatomy and physiology. What is the function of cholesterol? What is cholesterol? And so when you get down to the basic function of cholesterol, you're going to find out that cholesterol is the precursor for tissue repair. For cholesterol is the precursor for hormone production. In order to make sex hormones or hormones in general, you need cholesterol. Cholesterol, in order for you to repair tissue, you need cholesterol. In order for you to myelin sheath. Myelin sheath are the very things that, so when you have a cord, you plug into the wall. Well, that wire that is inside of that black cord is covered by that insulation. That insulation is like myelin sheath. So myelin sheath is around your nerves in your body. And when you nick that myelin sheath, then you have a problem with as far as transmitting signals. And so in order to make that myelin sheath, you need the appropriate amount of cholesterol. Cholesterol is important for your muscles. Cholesterol is extremely important when it comes to brain development. So there's so many things that cholesterol does, but when we hear about cholesterol, we automatically think about good cholesterol, bad cholesterol. Why? Because we've been conditioned. We've been conditioned. This society, this world, this country, these folks, they condition the masses in a way to become food for their banquet. That's what they do. And that is always going to be around. That is always going to be a reality for the most part, I guess. But my job, my purpose, my mission is to push as many as possible away from that. Now, I don't want to say push because you have to want to do it. My job is to put the information out there, and those who choose to accept it and take it and run with it and spread it, then that's just what it is. But we're doing something different over here versus what they are training you to do over there. So that's what cholesterol is. You need cholesterol. Cholesterol is extremely vital. So when you see cholesterol going up, you should ask yourself, out of these basic functions of cholesterol, which one of these functions is requiring more cholesterol? When we start to see cholesterol lower, which you usually don't see unless you're taking medications, we should ask once again, which one of these functions are requiring lower cholesterol. But then same thing, with the medications as far as cholesterol, then we should also ask, will these medications improve your mortality and morbidity? So overall, what I'm saying is that think about that. Take a scroll over to the nnt.com or watch the video. I've made multiple videos about medications and why they just don't work, or going through the science or the reviews of these medications not working the way they work. But let's take that away. I was talking to a brother Thursday, I think it is. And, his blood pressure was crazy high. And he started explaining. He was like, yeah, I know I got to chill out with the smoking. I got to chill out with the drinking and everything like that, man. I'm just, I know I got to do it. He's like, but I know I need to take my medications, though. I know I got to take my medications. And I was like, which one do you think is more important? And he was like, the drinking and smoking. And I was like, see, you know that the drinking and smoking tops you taking the medications. How about everybody else? When it comes to diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, all these conditions, those of you who are being extra vigilant with your medications, those of you who are being good patients when it comes to taking medications. I'm not telling you to stop taking medication. That is not my advice. That is not my recommendation whatsoever. But for those of you who are extra, extra tight and compliant when it comes to your medications, how compliant are you to giving your body healthy nutrients that will actually allow your body to become the better version of your body? Better yet, ask yourself this question. Which one is more important? The medications or green salad? Which one's more important? Which one is going to grant you the better investment? Like, if you had to look at this as an investment and you had to invest in the medications for your body versus healthier foods for your body, which one do you think will give you a better ROI after 10 years? Which body would you want after 10 years? If you could choose the body of the man or the woman who is going to continue to eat the same way they eat while taking medications, 10 years pass, we're going to get whatever we get. Or you're going to take the person who chooses to stop eating the way they eat and now eat healthy, whole foods for 10 years on out. Who do you choose? Which one are you going to invest in? Guy A or guy B? Who do you invest in? Right? So ask yourself that question and then ask yourself, what is the reality of what I'm doing? Because if I value my life, I say I'm important. I believe I'm important. I say I have a purpose. I say I want to carry out my purpose. What do your actions actually say? Do your actions actually reflect the things that you say? This is a conversation that we all have to have with ourselves, including myself. That's why I'm out here in the woods, in the trees, and out here, because this is where I do my best thinking and my best work. I'm a country boy. I got to be around plants and trees and woods. I just have to be, right? So if your actions does not reflect your desired outcome, you, in other words, are expecting results without work. In other words, you are expecting a miracle. I am not anti-miracle. I know that miracles happen, but it's rare. And for millions of people to expect this rare thing to happen to them, where 10 years pass by of eating processed foods and taking medications and you're healthier, I'm gonna tell you what, I'm not betting on you. I'm not betting on you. That's not where I'm investing. I'm investing in the guy. I don't care where you start out. You can be 800 pounds. And this guy can be 180. If the guy who's 180 says for the next 10 years, I'm going to continue to eat processed foods and take medications, and the guy who's 800 pounds said, yo, I'm done with that whole processed foods thing. I'm only eating whole foods, and I'm drinking water, and I'm fasting. I'm riding with this guy. I'm riding with the 800-pound guy. I'm putting my money here. I'm putting all my money here. I already know what's going to happen. Why? Because a miracle is something that takes place outside of natural law and science. Science tells me that this guy only became that weight, that blood pressure, that blood sugar, because of the food, the drinks, the smoking, over time, frequently got in that condition. Therefore, if he strips away those things, I know that he gets better. This guy, it doesn't matter how good of a person he is. It doesn't matter how much people love him. It doesn't matter how much he just wants to get better. None of these things matter. It's not about your feelings. It's not about your desires. It's not about any of those things. It's about the actual work. That's what it's about. Because if you're thinking that just because he's a good person and he wants better and people just like him and you're expecting him to be better, you're expecting a miracle. So ask yourself, just like I got to ask myself, are we expecting miracles to take place? Have we become a generation of miracle seekers? Because even when we look at the healthcare system, if we had to base their works on their past results, especially when it comes to the black community, and we are placing the fate of our health in their hands and systems, you must be expecting a miracle. You You must be. You have to be. You have to be. Like there's no, either you're expecting a miracle or you have no idea what has taken place historically. Either it has to be one of those two. But for you to know and still trust, you're looking for a miracle. It doesn't make any sense. Those folks need food for their banquet, and you are going to be the food. You, mama, what the Surgeon General say, pop, mama, like you're going to become food for their banquet. They're going to get you plump, good size, get you well marbled, and then you become part of the banquet. So, overall, understand, don't be so fantasy based when it comes to your health, your life. I mean, just life in general. Don't be fantasy based when it comes to improving your health. All right, that stuff may work in the movies. It may work in books, and your political leaders may try to get you to believe that these things work, but they don't have your best interests in mind. They don't. Now, if you want to believe that, you can definitely believe that. That is your right. But when you check the rap sheet, when you check the record, there's nothing there to substantiate your belief that they really looking out for you. I mean, and this is a quick veering off of what I'm originally talking about, but if I come up with a medication right now, if I created a medication right now, and it took me 9 months to come up with that medication, and then after that, I was able to make the medication really fast because I had a lot of funding, had a lot of money, a lot of people backing me. Like the whole entire world was backing me because this medication was going to be so important because of a situation we were experiencing, a crisis or something like that. And this medication was going to be the medication that really helped people out. So everyone was just investing in my medication. All right, cool. 9 months, I got me a medication. And then I turn around and I test this medication out for several more months. Let's say 6 months or 4 to 6 months, right? Once I do that, anything I come out of my mouth and say about that medication needs to be based on that year of creating the medication and that 4 to 6 month time frame of experimenting with the medication. This means that if I say anything outside of my known knowledge, my known history, then I'm lying. If I say that as a fact, then I'm making an assumption and I'm lying. Therefore, I can't say that something that did not exist last year as a medication or a vaccine, I can't say that something that did not exist last year for sure is safe and effective. I just can't say it. Why? Because it's not true. Because I don't know what 2 years looks like. I don't know what 3 years look like. I barely know what a year looks like. Therefore, for me to say that I know for sure that it's safe and effective is a lie. Now, this is not a pro or anti, vaccine or whatever like that. But this is about morals and ethics. If I'm going to tell people that they should take this thing, once again, there are rules to experimenting with people. The first rule is you got to let them know that this is experimentation. And that is exactly what this is, which to each his own, to each his own. But if I have not used this medication or I haven't seen what it can do over a year or I haven't seen what it can do over 2 years, in order for me to find that out, I got to experiment with it. And once again, that's cool. That's how you figure things out. But people should know that they are part of an experiment. To tell them that it's safe and effective, you are lying. That's just straight up. I'm not making an argument for or against the vaccine, but what I'm just going off of basic facts. Like I do legal medicine, and I know that words have definitions. I understand that words have meaning. And so when you get stars and rappers and entertainers and athletes coming out hard promoting and saying that it is safe, don't be stupid, do it, let go of the past, Well, that is just a bold-faced lie. You have no data whatsoever to support anything past 6 months because you only use it for 6 months. So anything outside of 6 months, you guessing, bro. And let's just call it that. Let's just say that it's an experiment. Like, but to say that it's safe and effective, all cap, because you don't know. You don't know. It's all cap. So, all right, let me get off of that. I hope y'all received the original point that I was attempting to make, which is no work while expecting results means that you're seeking a miracle, and looking for miracles will make you food for the banquet. Okay, because you're always going to have people and systems who are looking for those who want the easy life without work. And once they find that group, they will do everything in their power to keep those people or that group asleep. The goal is to keep that group asleep so that they continue to be food. All right? Put in the work. Put in the work. If you say you want to reverse type 2 diabetes and everything that you are doing needs to be centered, or not everything, a large amount of what you need to be doing needs to be centered around understanding type 2 diabetes, reversing type 2 diabetes. If you say you want to actually lose weight, then you got to be putting in the work. You can't just say you want to do it. You actually put in the work. Understand the basic equation that create that situation, and then work towards replacing those variables. Okay? Don't just take medication thinking that things are going to work out, because once again, you're expecting a miracle. That medication does not deal with anything in that equation. It's a very straightforward, basic equation. Processed food plus frequency over time equals insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is the platform for high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, PCOS, prediabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, I already said high blood pressure, stroke, and on and on and on and on and on. If you are dealing with those conditions, reverse engineer, go back to insulin resistance, go back to the equation, and replace the processed foods with whole foods, replace the frequency with fasting, and replace the time. No, you need the time, so leave the time alone. But the medications, they do nothing to that equation. All right? So let me go ahead and go. It's getting dark. I can barely see myself. But I know I have a lot of comments. I definitely want to come back in here and respond to the comments. But I think it's better if I go ahead and get back to the vehicle. Them boys out here. Also, y'all do me a favor. Please share this video, okay? Share this video because we have a lot of people in our community, in our family, in our circle, who, if you really sat down and thought about the way that they were moving, you would come to the conclusion that they're looking for a miracle. My church family, I love y'all. Oh, I love y'all. Y'all have done so much for me. Placed loving, healing, blessing hands on me. Prayed for me. Lord knows I need that prayer. But we have some work that needs to be done. We have some work that needs to be done. Because it's evident that many of us in that community are looking for a miracle. And it's not going to happen. Not without changing those variables. So we can talk about that later. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and go. Please share the video. Make sure to keep an eye out for the other videos that I just made and I will be making. Also go ahead and take advantage of the sale that we have going on right now. It's called P.E.A.C.E on Decks, where you can save at least 30% on at least 33 bottles of our best-selling products. That link is in the description. And always remember, this is our community. It is our responsibility. We have what it takes. We don't need some big outside intervention. We just have to put in the work. Once again, if we have this vision of improving the health conditions of our community, it requires work. it's not just going to fall in our lap. All right. So our community, our responsibility, we have what it takes. Let's put in the work. Love y'all. Peace.